Friends, welcome to this session on reading a balance sheet. Hope you have seen my previous session on reading a profit and loss statement. If not, see, you can still see it if interested. So, before we understand how to read a balance sheet, let us understand what is a balance sheet, probably for the benefit of students who may want to appear for exam, some theory here. Balance sheet is a statement of financial position of a business entity as on a particular date only, as on that date only, unlike profit and loss statement which shows transactions for a particular period, that is from date to date. You've seen it can be for 15 days, 1 month, or a quarter or a year, the profit and loss statement. But balance sheet is not that way. It is as on an end date, that is end of the year or end of the month or end of the quarter, respectively. It shows values, that is closing balances of all assets on one side and of all liabilities and capital on the other. So total value of all assets equals to total value of liabilities plus capital as on the date up to which the balance sheet is drawn. Mind it should be as on the date, as on that closing date. The values represent the values as on the closing date. Assets reflect the value of what the business owns. For example, fixed assets or some investments that is owned by the business, or something which the business is yet to receive from outsiders for the business transactions done up to balance sheet date. For example, up to the balance sheet date, you have sold goods on credit. So money receivable from your clients, from your customers will be assets. Likewise, liabilities reflect the true value or the value of what the business owes to outsiders, just the reverse of assets, value that the business has to pay, something that the business has to pay either for the loan taken or for other business transactions done up to balance sheet date, like if you bought goods on credit or the expenses you have not paid for will all be your liabilities. Capital is the money owed to the owners of the business. If you have seen my business entity session, you will realize that the business and the entity are both a different legal identities, right? So if owners have invested money in the business, for the business it is a liability. That's why we always show capital on the liability side, and you say that the money is owed by the business to the owners for the amount invested by them, plus any profit minus the losses that have been incurred in the business up to the balance sheet date, because profit and losses all belong to the owners. Let's see this format of balance sheet, T format, which generally software like Tally will show you. So on the left hand side, there is liabilities, list of liabilities, say starting is stockholders equity, share capital. Paid up capital means your face value. In some companies it is rupees 10, some it is rupees 5, somewhere rupees 100, rupee 1, depending on the company. So face value per share into number of shares goes into paid up capital. These shares can be equity shares, preference shares, and a lot of variety. Securities premium is anything that you pay over and above the face value. So premium per share into number of shares will be your securities premium. In case of partnership and proprietorship firms, instead of share capital, you will have partners capital and proprietors capital respectively. Then reserves and surplus, I have listed two here. There may be others also depending on the business. So these two are the most popular, which will be mostly there in all businesses. That is P&L account balance, all your profit less the losses from day one till the balance sheet date are there, is represented here, presented here in P&L account balance. General reserve is the money transferred every year from the P&L to general reserve. Some companies may do it, some may not do it, and this general reserve is used for some future purposes. Secured loans, long-term loan from bank is the most popular one. There can be loans from somebody else. Wherever there is a security provided for loan, it comes under secured loans. Then unsecured loans, say loan from directors, and non-corporates can borrow from others also other than directors. That will be listed if any. Current liabilities, trade payable is nothing but your bills you have booked your purchased goods, booked the invoices as payable but not yet paid as on the closing date, on the balance sheet date. So it goes as trade payables. Provision for expense is nothing but the expenses shown in your P&L but they have not yet been paid for, and even the bills would have not come, so you show it under provision by making a journal entry. So provision for expenses, all those expenses, they are there in the P&L but not yet paid as on the balance sheet date. There may be other current liabilities which will have some more things. For the time being, we'll end the list here. Let's go to the assets side. Fixed assets, tangible assets are the ones you can see. Intangibles, you cannot see, but they have value for the business. Listed there, say software, goodwill. Then there is investment in fixed deposits, in shares, mutual funds. It can be a long list in big companies. Current assets, trade receivables is goods sold on credit up to the balance sheet date, but for which money has not yet come in the business. Clients have or customers have not yet paid for. Inventory is your unsold goods as on the lying with you as on balance sheet date. Cash and bank balance similarly is the money available in your bank balance or in cash in all your branches, in cash form or bank form. Loans and advances can be employee advances, can be deposit for your rental premises, it can be any other advance given to your vendors and so on. So I've done the note. You must have seen that in my P&L session. For those who have seen, the main group accounts are listed above in blue color, the subgroup accounts in green color, which will never directly have any entry if you go to your accounting software. The entries will be done in the ledger accounts which are listed above. And from these ledger accounts which are pulled out from the trial balance, you present them here in the P&L. And the summation of ledger accounts goes to the green accounts, from the green accounts to the blue accounts. In real software or real accounting, you may not have colors. I have used colors for your ease of understanding. So since this is T format, let's draw a T. Total up the liabilities, total up the assets. They have to match, otherwise something is wrong. Your total assets will always be equal to your total liabilities. So if you have to buy assets or you have to invest or have money in assets, you will need to have liabilities. What is a liability? Liability can be either in the form of your own equity, owner's equity, or in the form of loans or other liabilities. Therefore, liabilities are also called sources of funds which help you to buy assets. Therefore, assets are also called application of funds. The same balance sheet which we saw in T format, if you place the same indicative list one below the other, either you place liabilities on top or assets on top, then it becomes a vertical format. And your total of all your liabilities should match with total of your assets. And in the balance sheet that corporate makes, you always compare your current year amount with your last year amount. Important concept for corporates which the corporate law mandates is some standard format for each industry, and apart from that you show your non-current liabilities separately versus your current liabilities. Your long-term loans which are going to mature or which are payable beyond 12 months from your balance sheet date are shown as non-current, and the same loan, whatever portion of that loan is payable within 12 months, then you show it under current liabilities as other current liabilities, or as term loan, current portion of the term loan under current liabilities. Similarly, even for non-current assets, whatever assets or investments which are going to mature or which are going to last with you for more than 12 months from your closing date or your balance sheet date will be shown as non-current, and any portion of that, if it is going to be lasting only for 12 months, then you show it as current assets, as other current assets, or you show it separately by the name of the asset. That concept is very important under company law. So let's quickly go through the case study of Reliance Industries Limited, one of the biggest conglomerates of India. Balance sheet consolidated as on 31st March 2019, the way we did for P&L of 2018-19. Pulled it out here. Top 5 lines we'll read together. They put assets on top, and the first item under assets is non-current assets, which shows top 5 rows. Together is, we can add them up. These are property, plant, equipment, capital work in progress, goodwill, other intangible assets, intangible assets under development. So from 5,90,000 crore, they have dropped to 5,77,000 crore. This is the net value, net block. So net decline of 2% versus last year. Let's understand why there is a decline. See the note which will show you what has exactly line by line each asset is listed there. So total you can see opening balance, and there is addition, a plus sign in blue. 74,000 crore is the purchase of the new assets. Assets costing 65,000 crore have been sold, deducted. One of them major being plant and machinery worth 60,000 crore, if you can see on fourth row from top. Then there's depreciation of 24,000 crore. line by line you can see, and then how opening balance, closing balance, net block after depreciation. Add to that capital work in progress, intangible assets under development. Capital work in progress and intangible assets under development means those which have, for which some money has been paid, some work has been done, but the assets construction is not yet over and not yet used for the business. So the next item is investments. 1,64,000 crore under non-current assets means more than 12 months maturity, and those with maturing within 12 months from balance sheet date. Below under current assets is 70,000 crore versus previous years 57,000 crore. So if you see note number 2 and 5, note number 7, you will know more details about it. Let's go and see these notes. So non-current investments, you see this is a big company, it's running into pages. Those interested can pull out the balance sheet and read. I have highlighted the main ones here. They have invested in debentures of Jio Digital Fiber Private Limited, Reliance Infratel, it's about 57,000 crore. Then next page, also in the preference shares of the same Jio Digital Fiber and various other companies, totaling to around 82,000 crore, all these preference shares investments. And others are small, so I've not marked them. That's how it is running into pages. They've also summarized in note 2.1 the same investments of 1,64,000 crore by the valuation method, cost method, equity method, and so on. Note number 7, investments current, that is maturing within 12 months, is about 70,000 crore. The listing is out there. The next item that we will see is inventories. It shows a growth of 11% from 60,000 crore to 67,000 crore, but that's not the correct way of seeing inventory. We always see inventory as days to sales. So in last balance sheet it was 54 days, and this balance sheet it is 42 days to sales. That's a drop of 12 days. How do you work out that? Divide the inventory value by the sales value multiplied by 365. There's an improvement. Similarly, even trade receivables shows that it's grown by 71% from 17,000 crore to 30,000 crore. But if you see as days to operating revenue, that is revenue from operations, then it is 16 days in previous balance sheet versus which now it is at 19 days. So 3 days more, maybe because of change in service in the business model, more services, 3 days could have changed. Not a big jump. Next one is cash and cash equivalents. So if you see note 9, it will tell you that it's 7,500 crore versus last year 4,200 crore, and some 2,100 crore additional has been given as securities. You know, some FDs have been placed with the bank as security, collateral security. So that's why this has grown. Otherwise, too much idle cash on balance sheet is not good, and better invest your cash in business. Because treasury income may not earn you as much. The savings in interest is much lower, and even the mutual fund interest, versus if your business is earning anything above your bank interest, you must invest in business. Anyway, this company had to keep some cash extra as collateral. That's why this cash balance is high versus last balance sheet. Other financial assets from 8,000 crore to 12,000 crore. This is nothing but your interest accrued on FDs, and it also has some deposits given which have increased this year for new businesses and all. So that's why it's grown like this. Other current assets are not marked, but that's grown from 32,000 crore to 36,000 crore. That is all your tax receivables, your TDS, your GST, and all your receivables from government, plus your prepaid expenses and all this sitting there in 36,000 crore. You can read note number 11 if interested. All these notes you can read to confirm what all we are talking. Next item is assets held for sale. You can see 4,667 crore versus liabilities relating to these assets are 3,299 crore. Note number 39, which will tell you why these things are kept. Ind AS mandates you to present separately on the face of the balance sheet if you have decided to sell off certain of your assets or your subsidiaries, rather than just clubbing them with other items. So note number 39 shows you these assets held for sale. Let's read it. In March 2019, the management committed to a plan involving divestment of controlling stake in 6 very large ethane carrier subsidiaries within the petrochemical segment, and entered into a binding arrangement, which is very important, with the prospective buyers. Accordingly, all assets and liabilities of these subsidiaries have been classified as held for sale, which is very important. If your arrangement is final with the buyers, you have to show it as an information to the investors that these assets will no longer be there with the company in the forthcoming year. They will be sold off soon. The next item is your reserves. They have grown by 33% from 2,87,000 crore to 3,81,000 crore, shown as other equity in Schedule 14B. It's a simple list there. The various types of reserves that a company has is listed out there. Note 14B you can read on your own. Next one is the non-controlling interest from 3,500 crore to 8,200 crore. That's up by more than 100%, 134% additional. Means some of the companies where company does not have a control or influence or more than 50% stake are these companies where the company has made additional investments. In fact, if you've seen in the P&L session, some of the companies where it had controlling stake, now the company has non-controlling stake because it has sold off those stakes. Next item, very important, is borrowings. You can see under non-current liabilities, means all the long-term borrowings which you have to pay after 12 months from your balance sheet date, that is after 31st March 2020, and those which you have to pay by 31st March 2020, that is within 12 months, are shown in current liabilities as borrowings 64,000 crore, and note number 18 will give you the breakup. Similarly for current non-current borrowings, note number 15 and 16, all these notes will give you from whom the company has borrowed, at what rate of interest, for what tenor, and so on. That's very informative. You can read by yourself. What I will do is I will go to the analytical note on borrowings, which is note number 32. So note number 32 on capital management. You can read how does the company do capital management, but more importantly, there is a table below which shows you gross debt, which is grown from 2,18,000 crore to 2,87,000 crore. That is all your current, non-current together. But from the gross debt, you always subtract your cash and marketable securities, means something which can mature in 1 or 2 days. Within the 1 or 2 days, that cash and bank balances or the securities are available to you if you have to pay your debts. So your net debt is always net of the money available to you. So which has gone from 1,40,000 crore to 1,54,000 crore, your net debt, only higher by 14,000 crore, versus total equity which is higher by almost 94,000 crore, from 2,93,000 to 3,87,000 crore. It's a very good growth in equity because of the higher profits that the company has posted. Therefore, as of 31st March 18, if you see the previous balance sheet, 0.48 is your net gearing ratio versus current balance sheet, it is 0.40. Gearing ratio is nothing but your total debt, net debt divided by your equity. So it is A divided by B. So company is efficiently managing the debt and getting more and more self-reliant rather than just external sources of borrowing. So that's all we could cover today. A few other things, the trade payables, other financial liabilities, other current liabilities, you can read in a similar way. Go to the respective notes, what has grown, what has gone down. There's not much change there, but you can see the notes over there and the provisions and these things. Deferred tax liability and asset, that has also changed. So that you can see my separate session on what is deferred tax liability, deferred tax asset. I think just now I'm not covering it because of constraint of time. Thank you guys for a patient listening. Goodbye.